a look at some of the highlights from the Stack's Bowers August 2020 US coins auction. The sale was largely dominated by spectacular large cent coins from the endlessly impressive ESM collection. And when discussing large cents, then there is hardly any better place to start than right at the beginning with the 1793 chain cent. The first coin struck for wide circulation at the new Philadelphia Mint building with 36,103 coins delivered in March of that year. The chain's reverse design was seen by some as an allusion to slavery instead of the theme of unity that it was intended to convey, and one contemporary review remarked that something along the lines of liberty having a ghostly visage or a frightened expression on her face on the obverse, leading to a complete redesign of the coin shortly thereafter. This stunning example was graded by PCGS as AU53 and fell under the auctioneer's gavel for $132,000. Another fabled rarity from the large cent series is the 1794 starred reverse Liberty Cap cent. The hallmark of this particular coin is the inclusion of 94 small stars in between and indeed underneath the denticles around the edge on the reverse. The reason for these stars being punched into the design is a complete mystery today. No documentation exists to explain it, at least none we are aware of. They appear to have been included by accident, and yet the placement is far too delicate to have been such. 19th century numismatist Robert Colton Davy suggests a connection between the 1792 Judd 12 pattern quarter dollar and this coin, but that coin contains 87 stars and not 94, of a vastly different style as well, so that theory is basically a non-starter. Whatever the reason for the stars being included on this coin, only around 60 of these coins are known to exist today, with this coin graded by PCGS as VF30 with all of the stars clearly visible, which is quite unusual for this type, sold at auction for $156,000. The 1797 small eagle design gold eagle coins represent not only the last of the 3 years that this type was in production, being replaced with the heraldic eagle reverse within the same year, but also the least amount of coins struck for any given date, with a suspected mintage of no more than 3,615 coins. Although in his research, John Danruther suggests that it may have been as few as 1,250 instead. This example simply shines in all regards, literally as well. The grade of MS62 from NGC is by no means an overgrade, and that reflected in the closing price of $300,000 at auction as well. Some territorial gold issues now, with the Oregon Exchange Company's beaver dollars on display. These were struck in 1849 from unrefined native gold, a fact for which the company compensated by purposefully making the coins overweight, as evidenced by a report from the US Assay Office that states that these coins typically contain around $5.50 worth of gold, accounting for their scarcity today, as they were typically bought at face value and then melted down to extract the intrinsic value of the coin. The seemingly cryptic series of letters on the obverse indicates the surnames of the company's officers, in order: Kilbourne, Magruder, Taylor, Abernathy, Wilson, Rector, Campbell, which was erroneously stamped in as a G instead of a C, and Smith. The TO underneath is again a mistake, standing for Territory of Oregon instead of the Oregon Territory as it should have been, a mistake which was later corrected with the dies of the $10 coins. This beautiful coin is the finest known of its type at a grade of MS62 from PCGS and managed to raise $336,000 at auction. Another phenomenal standout from the ESM collection offered is the finest known of the so-called Jefferson head 1795 large cent coins. With only 5 coins known to exist, this lettered edge type is further divided by die variety and die marriage, with 3 coins known for the NC1 variety, such as the example here, and only 2 coins for the NC4 type. Just for perspective, this VF30 coin is by far the finest known of these, with the Anthony Terranova coin graded as F15 and the former Clayton Wallace example graded as Fair 2. The obverse of the coin is distinguished by the lack of a hair ribbon, as well as the styling of the hair itself. The reverse of the coin on this particular die is characterized by a short ribbon that does not extend to below the fraction bar in the denomination. Further indicators also include 2 outer berries on a long stem below the letters IT in United, 3 leaves just below the letters of STA in States and MER in America instead of just the regular 2, and the right stem of the reef is centered below the last A instead of just over the last serif of the same letter. This is the only known use of this particular reverse die in the entire series. Graded by PCGS as VF30, this finest known Jefferson head cent sold at auction for $408,000. The history of westward expansion was written in gunsmoke, glory, and gold, and few symbols stand as more emblematic of the latter than the octagonal $50 Humbert slugs, struck by Augustus Humbert in the California Assay Office, which was created in anticipation of the opening of the US branchment in San Francisco. When gold was initially discovered in Sutter's Mill in 1848, San Francisco barely had 200 residents, but by 1852 it had exploded into a city of more than 36,000 people, and it served as the main port of entry into the California goldfields. So it is then only befitting that the assay office and later the westernmost branchment would be established there. The current example is one of the finest known examples of this target reverse type, so-called for the concentric circles that are at the coin's center resembling the bullseye of a target, with a purity of 887 finest gold, graded by PCGS as MS64 with a green CAC sticker. This historical coin sold for $432,000 at auction. And while we're on the topic of the gold rush, how about a large, natural gold nugget, still containing some natural quartz elements and embedded sediment? Supposedly discovered in Sacramento, this clearly naturally water-worn nugget weighs almost a half a kilogram. 464 grams. That's 14.9 troy ounces of gold. Just think about that. That's practically 15 full gold eagles. This ended up selling for $40,800 at auction. Then we have a true treat for anyone with even a passing interest in large cents. Not only a first year of issue flowing hair cent from 1793 of the type 2 or the reef variety instead of the chains coins that we saw earlier, but the exceedingly rare strawberry leaf die variety to boot. Normally, these coins would be seen with a small sprig of olive or perhaps laurel leaves just above the date. The exact reason, again, for including these details is not exactly known, as it was not present on the chains reverse type and was again removed with the Liberty cap design that came afterwards, all of which occurred in 1793. But this coin instead included a sprig of trilobal leaves with one flowering element that could easily be cotton or strawberries or something similar. Amazingly, only 4 of these strawberry leaf varieties are known to exist today. Of those, this is actually the finest known example at a grade of VG10 from PCGS. The other coins include a G4, an unslabbed, about good example that's currently being curated by the American Numismatic Society collection, as well as a unique NC2 variety graded by PCGS as Fair 2. Now, as you can imagine, these coins almost never appear at auction, and as interesting as discussing the finer points of this die variety may be, examining the historical auction records for this type, a rather ignominious mention does pop up from the 1894 Froissart's auction, where two numismatic legends, Ed Froissart and Lyman Lowe, get involved in a physical altercation, rolling around on the floor, kicking and clawing at one another, in the words of the then president of the ANA, Augustus Heaton, who was an eyewitness at the event. The two numismatic sages were soon mixed up in a dusty floor in a manner that would have made football adversaries envious of their combative qualities, until, in a badly circulated condition, they were dragged apart by dismayed spectators. Well, 126 years later, passions weren't quite raised to that level, social distancing and all, but some heated bidding did lead to a closing price of $660,000 for this rare coin. If you'd like to see more in-depth videos about large cents, or perhaps even dedicated videos about territorial gold coins, let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe to WNN and remember to activate notifications with the bell icon to know when new videos are released. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, stay safe, keep collecting, and have a fantastic day.